What up? This is Rap Business. So I got a new Lil Durk update for you all. So word is, from my sources, is that Durk and his lawyers have applied for a speedy trial. This is the same thing that Diddy had applied for. So in Durk's case, with this speedy trial request, it's going to probably benefit Durk just based on what I'm getting from this and the reasons why they would request this. So with Durk requesting this, it's looking like they are calling the feds bluff on this case. And you can kind of get an idea of that because when the first warrants were issued for the arrest of the OTF 5, they got them and picked them up in Chicago. And then Durk started booking flights and he started looking like he was going to leave the country. That's when they made the move on Durk. Now, if Durk didn't book those flights, okay, we know they were looking into him because they picked him up when he started booking those flights. But it's starting to look like they probably wasn't completely ready to pick him up yet. They were still in the process of gathering information and evidence against Durk. So there's a chance if he didn't book those flights, he might not have been picked up yet, but he was a suspect in the whole case. He's definitely the number one suspect at that. But just because he's the number one suspect doesn't mean they have enough evidence on him. So this is what it looks like Durk is betting on, because the way they had to wait till he was almost boarding a flight out of the country to pick him up, that means they panicked and picked him up possibly too soon. And that means that if he gets this speedy trial, they weren't ready to go to trial yet, possibly. They were hoping that this would drag out for maybe a year or two before trial. That way they can continue to gather evidence, maybe indict more people, put their case together solid, dot their I's, cross their T's and all that. But with the speedy trial request, it looks like Durk will call their bluff in saying that they didn't have enough evidence on him. Maybe they have, the text messages and the OTF card, but is that solid enough evidence to convict him of the M's? So that's the thing. What it comes down to is I always thought Durk was too smart to be going through something like this. It was like he was changing his life around. He was, really turning over a new leaf before they picked him up. So even before that, I never looked at Durk as like the main op. Like he wasn't like a, King Von to me. He just wasn't. I didn't see him like that. I looked at him as more like, okay, he's with the gang and everything, but he's not necessarily the number one hitter in the squad. He ain't necessarily coming off as a King Von or Little Jeff to me. You know what I'm saying? He just wasn't coming off like that. I mean, not saying that he was soft or weak or anything, but you know what I'm saying? It just didn't seem like he was the main guy. He wasn't him. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I looked at it personally. And I never looked at him like the big threat. You know what I'm saying? Kind of the smarter guy, more like a Bibby or something, kind of stay out the way type guy, you know what I'm saying? And still affiliated with the gang and everything, but not necessarily the number one hitter out of the squad, you know what I'm saying? Might have even dropped a body or two, might have even had, you know what I'm saying, kind of maybe a one or two, maybe three, maybe something like that on him, but not really more than that, I would suspect, if anything at all, you know what I'm saying? So Durk, it was surprising that he even got caught up in this. And if they wouldn't have used his credit cards, you know what I'm saying, none of this would be happening. If those guys from the OTF camp would have taken Durk's words correctly when he said, don't be using no OTF cards, then, you know what I'm saying, none of this would have happened. He would have been free and clear, most likely, but he still got to deal with a possible snitch in the crew, so, or a wire or something like that. He still got to deal with that type of stuff, but he wouldn't have had the evidence that they have now if they wouldn't have had that card. You know what I'm saying? The OTF card, and it's like almost like they tried to set him up. The way they had that card, it was almost like this was a setup. But you know what I'm saying? When it comes down to it, you can't set them up and still do the hit, because the feds ain't gonna allow a hit to happen if they were aware of it. So who was trying to frame Durk then? Because if you're gonna be doing all that to go at Quando Rondo, and you're gonna take flights and book hotels and buy stuff, how are you doing this with an OTF card that Durk told you not to use? So it looks like whoever did that, they're just reckless. He just had reckless people around him, or it almost looks like some type of shady stuff going on. If it's shady stuff going on, that means Durk could have been framed. Maybe he's just saying don't use the cards because he didn't want nothing associated with what y'all might possibly do. He might have known what they were capable of doing, and he didn't want no parts of that. Maybe that's why he said don't use the card, because I don't really trust y'all like that. And then he should have took it upon himself to make sure they didn't have access to that card, though. That's the thing. So now it's too late. You know what I'm saying? So here's why Durk probably won't be getting bail. Now, some people are saying that he already had his bail hearing. I thought it was coming up after. Either way, he ain't getting bail. Whether he had the bail hearing already or it's coming up, he ain't getting bail, most likely. I would bet he doesn't, because we saw what happened with the Young Thug case. We saw what happened with the Diddy case. Now we see with the Durk case. Durk's almost the worst of them all, because Durk was on his way out of the country. So it's looking like, okay, what were you running from? Why were you headed out the country? Were you trying to go on a run? It looks like, you know. So that's not a good look to get bail. Diddy wasn't even headed out the country. Well, he kind of was, because he was on that private plane when all this was happening. It was almost like he was headed out the country. Then he played it off like he was just going on vacation. He came back, and he should have never came back. You know what I'm saying? Diddy should have never came back, but he did. I think he was minimizing the charges. I think he was minimizing this whole thing. He didn't think it was that big of a deal, probably, Diddy. You know what I'm saying? He didn't think what he was facing was that serious. So he came back to the States, and he was like, I'm going to just face this head on. You know what I'm saying? So the reason why Diddy and Durk and all them and Thug ain't getting bail is because they got too much money. That's when money works against you. The feds know how much money they got. They know they got a bag, so they looking at it like y'all is capable of leaving the country. Y'all had the money and the means to do it. What do you got to lose at this point to leave the country? If they let Diddy out on bail, he's probably already figuring out a plan. Like, they almost let him out to go to that hotel. He even had security scouting the hotel and everything. Not a hotel. It was a luxury apartment. He was pretty sure he was going to get out on bail that last time after they found a few things that the prosecutors messed up on, and the judge decided to keep him in there, and you know what I'm saying, keep him locked up. And Diddy was so sure he's getting out, he started, you know what I'm saying, really planning on being released. And I think it's not out of the possibility that he might have some plans in place if he ever does get bail. Maybe he does leave the country, or pull a Machiavelli on somebody, act like he got slumped or something, or, you know what I'm saying, he's unalived or something, and then he really not or something. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what type of plan he might have if he gets out on bail. And that's what the prosecutors are afraid of with Durk and Diddy, and that's what they're afraid of with Thug, is that these guys got so much money they could actually most likely pull off something. You know what I'm saying? No matter how impossible it might seem. Maybe if Diddy was in that luxury apartment, maybe he get a fire alarm pulled or something and come out, you know what I'm saying, the building like a firefighter or something, you know what I'm saying, with a firefighter costume on, and, you know what I'm saying, just walk up out of there. And, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. You never know what type of plan he might come up with that type of money. So that's why they ain't get bail. And look, the Speedy trial, though, it looks like that's going to be a good look for Durk, because it shows, you know what I'm saying, it shows that he might not have really had nothing to do with that situation. There's a chance he didn't have nothing to do with it. There's just a chance, because I did a poll. I did a vote poll, and a lot of y'all said he's probably guilty. I think it was like 60% or something. I might have to do another poll to see what y'all thinking on. But I'm holding out that there's a chance he might have not have been involved in that. Maybe he didn't even know about it possibly, but you know what I'm saying? I don't know. We're going to have to let it play out in court and see what happens, but there's a chance Durk didn't have nothing to do with it. And if that's the case, that's probably why he wants a speedy trial, because he wants to show, even though he talks that stuff on his music, you know what I'm saying, on the songs and stuff, that don't mean that he's actually out here doing that stuff. He's a multi-millionaire. He ain't necessarily out here trying to mess his life up. Maybe he's just talking tough on the songs, which is kind of the image that I looked at him as. Just kind of, you know, he likes to talk stuff on the song. Might have been about that when he was in the trenches. Maybe he was a little more active member when he was in the trenches and everything. But now, ever since he's had success and he's proven that he can have a different life for himself, I think he might have changed up a long time ago. And probably, you know what I'm saying, there's a chance he probably didn't have nothing to do with that. We'll have to see, though. Anyways, that's about it, y'all. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Hey, follow Rap HITZ on social media and all that. Also, I got free email newsletters. Check out the shop, the Rap HITZ shop and all that. All right, I'm out of here. Oh, yeah, let's get 100 likes on this video. I'm out.